Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney has the evening off. New into our newsroom, court documents reveal what led to a Sunday afternoon drive-by shooting in Moses Lake. Earlier today, the 20-year-old suspected shooter faced a Grant County judge. KREM 2 was the only camera in the courtroom for his first appearance. Our Janelle Finch went to Central Washington and tells us what the alleged shooter told police.
Today, we learned from these court documents more about the alleged crime and why the suspected shooter claims he was acting in self-defense. Sergio Higuera is facing 2 counts of assault and 1 count of drive-by shooting. This after being accused of opening fire on a moving vehicle near Moses Lake on State Route 17. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says it all began when the suspect says a car was driving too slow in front of him.
What did happen in this case is something that happened on the roadway which caused someone else to get their temper flared up, and it escalated to the point where a shooting happened.
Police say the suspect claimed the car moved over and its passengers flashed a handgun at him. Documents say Higuera reacted by pulling out a gun and shooting at least 2 rounds at the vehicle. Court documents also say the suspect told officers he's a member of a gang, and he thought the passengers in the other car were members of another gang, so he acted in self-defense. Police identified 2 18-year-old victims with 1 shot in the head and the other shot in the shoulder.
We now have 1 person who's on life support. We have another person who's injured requiring extensive life care.
Higuera appeared in court Monday for the alleged crimes. Here, the state asked a Grant County judge for a $75,000 bond, given Higuera's lack of criminal history. The judge still saw Higuera as a potential threat to the community and set his bond at $100,000.
Law enforcement is working very hard to keep these from happening because they pose a risk to anybody who's not associated with the original crime. If there's people who are out around in the area and there's a shooting that happens, 1 stray bullet can strike someone and injure them or even kill them.
Higuera is set to be back in court November 20th. The sheriff's office says the investigation is ongoing and both vehicles involved in the shooting have been taken in as evidence. From the Grant County Courthouse, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Over the weekend, a Post Falls woman died in what firefighters are calling a freak accident on Celtice Way. Today, the family of that woman confirmed her identity. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley shares who the 68-year-old was and how her family is remembering her.
This is the tree that fell unexpectedly on Diane Williams' car, killing her instantly. This cross here marks the start of a memorial honoring the woman who meant a great deal to many.
Celtice Way is a common route between Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene. But as Diane Williams drove this route Saturday morning, she encountered a threat no one expected. A tree from the median fell onto her car. It killed Diane instantly. Idaho State Police are still investigating what caused this, but the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department says there was no wind when the tree fell. As Diane's family and friends wait for answers, they're holding tightly to her memory.
Truly a huge loss to our family, a great sister, and a wonderful human being all her life.
Diane's brother, Tom Collins, told me over the phone she moved to Post Falls from California 6 years ago. She dedicated her life to physical therapy and retired just a few years ago. She was the sister to 6 boys.
She was my sister and my best friend. She gave everything she had to life, helping others. She will be missed tremendously. We will carry her legacy with us in our hearts forever. Rest in peace, my beautiful sister. I will miss you forever.
Tom says Diane had a great love for dogs. Shortly after retiring, she started a dog-sitting business, Diane's Dog House. She even shared her passion with a few young girls from the neighborhood, walking the dogs together at Atlas Mill Park. The median on Celtice Way is maintained by the city of Coeur d'Alene. City Administrator Troy Tymeson says its urban forestry program preserves, maintains, and enlarges the city's urban forest. But he says while these efforts can help minimize any danger from falling branches or trees, they cannot eliminate it entirely. Even healthy trees with no warning signs can come down under the wrong circumstances. Meantime, he says the city will continue inspecting its trees.
Her brother also told me he is grateful that Diane didn't suffer long. Right now, her family is making arrangements for her funeral. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
The man accused of killing a family of 4 in Kellogg was not back in court today. The court was expected to hear arguments today to dismiss some charges against him. KREM 2 traveled to Wallace today, where we were told of the change. Instead, lawyers for 31-year-old Major John Kaylor submitted written arguments to dismiss 2 of the 4 first-degree murder charges that he faces. His lawyers say 2 of the killings were not premeditated and only happened after an argument. He is expected to be back in court on Wednesday for a motion to suppress the suspect's alleged confession to police. His trial is scheduled to start in January, and if convicted, he faces a maximum of life in prison. In other news this evening, happening in 1 hour from now, the Spokane City Council expected to approve several ordinances, so here are the ones that we are keeping tabs on tonight. First, the council is expected to vote on whether the parkade in downtown Spokane should be designated an historical site. If added, the parkade could be eligible for property tax abatement, improved grants, and special code considerations. Next, the council will be discussing a 2018 ordinance that waived fees for solar energy systems and electric vehicle charging stations. This is after the council approved an ordinance back in 2018 that waived building fees when installing solar panels. Since then, the amount of solar panels has increased, which has placed extra work for the fire department, who are installing these systems and at the same time are not getting adequately compensated. All right, let's talk weather now. The rain returned to the forecast today after a nice break from it yesterday. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy to find out how much more rain is heading our way. Jeremy?
Well, Mark, when it comes to our overall weather pattern, I do think we're through the worst of the rain today, and for that matter, tomorrow looks less rainy than today, but still a few scattered showers nonetheless. We sit at 47 degrees with a break in the rain, but look at the dew point, 42. Tells me we're not going to cool off too much more overnight. Instead, the wind picks up, and notice if here in town our wind gusts are near 25 miles per hour, that means some places are looking at wind gusts 30 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit stronger, so it is a breezy night. Overall, we have our storm moving in, and as that makes a landfall over on the west side, we're going to see a little more activity. Notice we have another round of showers kind of reinvigorating down to our south. You can see that just kind of making its way slowly up toward us. That likely becomes what we're looking at, and overall, that weather pattern tends to hold. More rain is expected. I think we have a few more showers overnight. We wake up to a little bit of rain early tomorrow. Through the middle of the day, I think is the best shot at getting widespread rain. And then by tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, things taper off and dry out. We're talking a much drier, well, middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. Looks like we might even see a little bit of sunshine, but getting there is going to be windy and wet.
All right, sounds good. Jeremy, we'll check back in with you later in the broadcast.